This is to all parents that have children that have learning differences. I think when we are thinking about employing these young adults, and when we're thinking about these young adults going out on their own and trying to find jobs, how many times, Hannah, do we hear, oh, my son has a learning disability, what can they do?
I would say every third conversation is like that.
100%. It really is up there. And it's usually exactly like this, which is what industry should they go into? And then they have learning differences, they have learning disabilities, however they present it or however they say it. What can they do? It's always the question. And what we've found is asking that question like that isn't very useful. Here's what I mean. The way to think about this, and the way that you and I think about this when we have people in the launch program, is instead of thinking about what the disability is and then us drawing conclusions of what that young adult is therefore then able to do, what type of work they can and can't do, we ask about what limitations that learning difference or that learning disability, or even if it is a disability, maybe they don't have legs.
Yeah, if you're an amputee or a quadriplegic.
Maybe they can't walk.
Or they're visually impaired, deaf.
Or they're clinically deaf, but they can hear above a certain decibel. And so instead of taking the diagnoses, you think one step further than that. And you think about the, quote, limitations that diagnosis has, or rather the presentation of that diagnosis. For example, let's just say ADHD. We get this one all the time. Oh, my son is ADHD. I don't know what to do. What kind of jobs can they do? And for us, when we think about that, I get overwhelmed because I'm just like, I don't know, because I don't know what your son is capable of doing.
Or what you're going to think that he's capable of and limit him based on your interpretation of it.
But I don't know what he's capable of doing. I don't know what he's not capable of doing. And so the next question that asks, what does ADHD mean? And that is a much better gauge. That is a much better question to be asking. What does it mean? How does it present? What are the limitations that this child has because of the ADHD?
This really speaks, I think, to school failure, because she's talking about his school failure. I'm talking about the failure of schools. One, I see a rash, and people can say I'm talking out of turn, but this is what we do for a living. And we talk to these kids all day. I'm telling you right now, there is an overdiagnosis of things. Anybody who is mildly inconvenient to the system, there's a label smacked on them and they're pushed to the back of the line. That's what happens. And so I see this time and time again. The dangerous thing about labeling your children by a label that the school has given them is that the schools are failures, and they're going to give your kids a label, and then you are going to use that label to limit your child before your child has even thought about what they need. Like, your child has escaped school. He's 19, so he's free of this. Don't let it follow him. Rip the label off and really think about what he needs, and then think about, for him, what is he willing to do or able to do to learn? And that is different for every child, which is why parents have to do this.